Hey guys, what's going on? It's the Block Bull right about now, bringing you the latest episode to the channel now. In today's video, we're going to discuss Onyx XCN coin because we've not covered it for a few days now and we are due an update. Now, I'm just on the crypto bubbles. This is the weekly time frame here, so we can see Onyx XCN coin is down 2.5% on the week. We do have a mixed bag actually, so there is a lot of uncertainty in the markets right now as we do have the Fed meeting over the next couple of days, and the main one being the 29th of October 29th, which will land on a Wednesday. You can see here from the Fed watch tool on the CME group, we do have a 96.7% chance of a rate cut. So that is bullish news by nature for crypto in general. Okay, so it's looking really good. Like I say, 2 days, 3 hours, 42 minutes. We do have other news as well. Over on X, we do have US Treasury Secretary Bessent says China is ready to make a trade deal which would remove President Trump's 100% tariff. So this is bullish news. So we do have a lot of bullish fundamentals going on right now, especially with what's going on between this sort of tariff, this trade war between America and China, and also with the rate cuts as well, obviously to sort of weaken the US dollar. In turn, that actually strengthens crypto, and this is what we're all about, guys. We're all about trying to make some cheddar on this channel now, guys. It's not all about making some cheddar, it's also saving the cheddar as well. So in today's video with Onyx XCN, I am going to be discussing these simple moving averages that I've actually highlighted over here in today's video, guys, just making it really simple for you guys. Now I'm going to scroll out so you guys can get a better view and a better understanding of where we are trading in terms of the macro picture. Now, when I've come on and actually videoed Onyx XCN coin, I've actually said Onyx coin is really difficult to read in some cases because it does leave these massive gaps. Okay, for example, here we set this 24 high here, and then we've actually only traded down here. So actual fact, Onyx XCN coin has found support here, which is a really peculiar place to actually find support. Really peculiar. Now we're actually above the 24 highs by 134%. Now that's just unheard of without a retest. So this is why I've still got this order block. I have got approximately 20% in dry powder just in case of a turn to the downside. But what I want to highlight in today, guys, which is what I've already mentioned, is these simple moving averages. Now you can probably just about see it. There's this blue line here. For example, if I go over to the candlesticks, the blue line will be more obvious, if you will. So this blue line is a 10-day moving average. Okay, so this is why this blue line almost sticks towards a price action, because it's only adjusting every 10 days. Where on the other hand, the institutional moving average, which is the red line, this is every 200 days. This is adjusting, and this is taking the average of the previous 200 days in terms of the price action. Okay, and this is how these sort of indicators, these moving averages, are plot. Okay, now what's really simple following this particular methodology? There's plenty of methods out there. There's hundreds of millions of indicators, so many combinations. You know, you could have the MACD crossover with the RSI. You could have these simple moving averages with some other sort of stochastic. So yeah, there's loads of ways to do it, but as you can see on this particular chart, we needed 200 days worth of data, which is why the red line, this red moving average, has only started printing at this point. Okay, and ever since, Onyx XCN coin has been trading below that. Now, a great signal to enter Onyx XCN, and it doesn't happen often, is when we cross back above this red line, which is exactly what has happened at this point here. I'm just going to take this TA out here, right here. Once that blue line, the 10-day, starts penetrating that red 200-day moving average, is a fantastic opportunity to buy. So I'm bullish at that point, okay? And adversely as well, when this blue line actually crosses back through the red line, we actually flip bearish. So we're actually trading negatively. And then if you're actually trading here, again, the blue line penetrates, we're flipping bullish. That sounds a bit flipping bullish. Anyway, we're flipping bullish at this point. Again, this is around the 19th, 20th of November. Not that it's any significance. That was approximately 2 weeks after the US elections. So we're bullish at this point. And look at Onyx XCN coin. It absolutely goes on a tear here. Now, although this doesn't tell you this particular indicator with these crossovers between these two moving averages, it doesn't necessarily tell you or give you an indication of when to take profits. Okay, we can use some other tools in our arsenal to actually, sort of predict, but we won't cover that in today's video. All we're looking for is an entry, the best possible place to enter Onyx XCN coin. Now, for me, there's only two. It don't matter. All these indicators, whatever combinations, all the technical analysis, all the fundamental news, it all comes down to two actions. Yeah, your first action is your entry, and I believe this is a very good indicator, which works very, very well for Onyx XCN coin. I can't say it works across all the rest of the cryptos, but certainly for Onyx XN coin, it works like a dream. So we've got 50% of our trade executed reasonably well to a high degree of accuracy. Yes, you could buy lower down here. It's trading lower. But ultimately, for me, Onyx XN coin is still trading really low at this point of when that moving average crosses over. When that blue line crosses that 200-day moving average, we're buying Onyx XN coin and it's run up massively. Now, even if you just waited for that blue line to touch the red, even though the price action here has touched this 200-day moving average, you could have actually seen the 200-day moving average to actually add to your position. Now, what I would say, this blue line hasn't actually crossed the red line. You can see right here. I'm just going to delete that as well. It hasn't actually intercepted, and it's only at this point here where we had a bit of a fake out. So ultimately, you could have took profits there on Onyx XN coin when we had that sort of crossover. So what I'm saying is, guys, even if you just use this as an exit as well, not that it's the optimum strategy, for me, it's a very good strategy actually at entering your positions down here. If you entered here at the crossover right here at this junction and actually only exited your position once the blue line actually touched the 200-day moving average, you'd be up around 820% if we rounded up ever so slightly. 820%, that's over a 9x. Between a 9-10x from just looking at these simple moving averages. Okay, now this is where we've had a lot of misfortune now because we're getting a bit of a fake out. If I just scroll in a bit more for you guys, we've had this sort of fake out to the downside, and then we burst up there, and then again. So we've had a lot of sort of flip-flopping behavior, which is inherently, this is what you're going to get in markets, some course of uncertainty. Okay, again we flip bullish, and then we've come down, and then we've actually come through here. So this red line has been penetrated by our 10-day moving average, and ever since we have been coming down. Okay, now this is the thing, guys. The only way this indicator is going to tell us when to enter the market is when we penetrate up towards this sort of red trend line here. When I say trend line, 200-day moving average. So that 200-day moving average, if I just use a little marker there, it's telling me the 200-day moving average is trading at approximately around 1.5 cents. Okay, without being pedantic. So hopefully, like I say, this is only a 10-day moving average. So hopefully, once it starts penetrating, as soon as we get up about above 1 cent 5, 1.5 cent, we are looking extremely bullish, guys. And there's a lot of gains to be made if we was to actually challenge. That's 62%. Yeah. So this is why I talk about risk to reward a lot of the time on the channel, because ultimately you could potentially miss out on 62% worth of gains before this blue trend line begins to penetrate this 200-day moving average. But so far in the history of Onyx XCN coin, Onyx XCN coin hasn't really failed to materialize once we do get a solid breakthrough. Okay, so what I'm saying is, guys, make sure to remain hedging your bets, because right now, technically, according to these moving averages, we are still in bearish territory. And there's only this weak low holding us up now. So right now, we're still bearish on Onyx XN coin. Okay. Now, this is the thing. We've still got this sort of yellow trend line coming in. And this yellow trend line is resistance. And we keep knocking our heads. And what I'm gonna do is just take those away. So again, this is the week low. We are challenging the lows again. We've still got resistance above our head, and that would be around sort of 1 cent one. So there's still a lot of work to do for Onyx XN coin. Even up to resistance, you're talking about 20%. But right now, it's posing a massive risk in the market, guys. However, with the sentiment, like I've just mentioned, we've got the Fed rates, 96.7% chance they'll be caught. We've also got the news as well with the US Treasury Secretary as well, also bullish. So the question is, can Onyx make a break and take another crack at resistance? If we begin moving to the upside at this yellow line, then obviously we'll be looking at flipping bullish. And then once we pass that 1 cent, 1.5 cent, we cross over that 200-day moving average, then we are looking in very good territory. And that's when I expect fireworks to happen. But I can't see that up until the end of the year going into 2026. I think 2026 is when we're going to see the fireworks. Up until 2026, anything can happen. Obviously, with the good news this week, I do expect us to take a hit and challenge resistance. Now, the chances are we're probably going to look at a rejection. So what I'd imagine, I'm just putting my hat in the ring, guys. Yeah, this is trading. It's all probabilities. The chances are he's going to take another shot at resistance. Yeah, people are probably going to think it's going to capitulate here. And what I would imagine to happen is we take a crack at resistance, maybe run up 20-25% to the yellow trend line, and then we may take a liquidation spike. Okay, it happened very, very quickly, and I've still got the dry powder in this purple order block down here. Yeah, and then obviously we'll see a strong bounce back up into this sort of formation, in towards this sort of wedge pattern, if you will. If I just mark it out for you guys, we've got this wedge pattern now around here. In fact, I'm just going to let's have a look. Yeah, this sort of wedge pattern. So I could see a massive liquidation spike down there and straight back up, get to the apex around sort of end of December, January, and then we can see fireworks cross that 200-day moving average, guys. Anyway, I hope that helps. It's a little bit of insight with those moving averages in terms of entering your position. Obviously, that's what all we're trying to cover in today's video, just entering a position. Right now, you're 60% below that 200-day moving average, so it's still a phenomenal price. And even if Onyx XN capitulated down here, we saw a liquidation spike, it's not going to affect the 200-day moving average to a great extent. Like I say, it's an average of 200 days of price action before. So yeah, it looks pretty good, but just be careful. Have a small bag, or even if you got a 20% allocation in dry powder like I have, make sure you put that dry powder to work and place it in buy orders, just in case of any market manipulation and scares. Okay, I've been Block Bull. Until next time, the Block Bull is over and out.